I have a bizarre story here from Talking Points Memo and the Las Vegas Review-Journal. They say, a Nevada man with a swastika and the phrases baby Nazi and most wanted tattooed across his neck and forehead won't have to face a jury of his peers with those symbols visible after a judge ordered they be covered in an effort to give him a fair trial. During jury selection last month for Basil Morgan's trial on armed robbery charges, prospective jurors said the defendant's tattoos, which also include white supremacist symbols in place of his shaved eyebrows, made them feel nervous and shaky. They also said Morgan's teardrop tattoo could convey previous criminal acts, according to the report. After delaying the trial to consider methods to ensure jurors not be influenced by Morgan's appearance, District Judge Richard Scotty ordered that Morgan's tattoos from the neck up be covered by makeup. Oh, okay. Yeah. I totally disagree with that. What you're doing is, in an attempt to be unbiased, you're actually being more biased because you're covering up the reality of some of the decisions that he made in order to give him a shot at being found not guilty. But hold on now. He made the decision to permanently put fucking baby Nazi and most wanted tattooed on his face. He has a teardrop tattoo, which, if I'm not mistaken, means, oh, you killed somebody. That's what that means on the street, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm not all that familiar with the street, if you can't tell. But you decided to put this shit on you, and then when it comes time for a trial for armed robbery, the judge is like, no, we're going to cover that up because we got to be fair. No, fair is, what are the facts? What's the objective reality presented to a jury and let them decide? It is a fact, it is part of objective reality that he chose to do that to his body, so why would you cover that up? You know what this reminds me of? And this one might be a little more of a controversial opinion, but if I'm not mistaken, in many cases, if not all cases, you're not allowed to bring up prior criminal convictions. So if somebody's on trial for whatever, just robbery, and they have a history of robbery, and they were found guilty and they served their time, but now they're back in court for that, if I'm not mistaken, you're not allowed to bring up, oh, this person has been arrested and convicted 3 other times for robbery. You can't bring that up because they say, oh, well, that's not relevant to the facts of this particular case. I would argue it is. Now, don't get me wrong. If somebody has, oh my God, they've been arrested 3 times for drugs, but then this one is somebody's arrested for assault. Would I let into evidence the drug convictions? I don't think I would. Or the drug arrests? I don't think I would. Why? Because that really isn't relevant. And everybody knows I think drugs should be legal anyway, so I don't view that as an actual crime, so that doesn't seem relevant to a situation about assault. So many people do drugs, and they never do an assault. So in that case, I probably wouldn't allow it. But if you're, on trial for assault, and you've been arrested for assault, or you've been convicted for assault, will I allow that into evidence? Yeah. Some people will say, hey, the criminal history, well, that biases people against the person. And that could be evidence of irrational targeting by law enforcement. Or it could be evidence that this is what this person does. Like, the idea is just, cover some of the evidence because you don't want to make people in the jury rule one way or another. That's the whole point of a trial. You want them to decide what's right. Should I rule this way? Should I rule that way? If somebody came into court and they had a giant Crips tattoo or Bloods tattoo, and it was on their face, let's say, just like this guy, would the judge say, hey, cover that up, give him a fair shot? No, they'd say, you chose to do that, fucking leave it on. If it's a white supremacist tattoo, if it's a fucking ISIS flag and it says ISIS is awesome, am I going to say, cover that up, it's got to be fair? No, you chose to put that on your body, so it is fair to let the jury see that on your body. I mean, arguing against fewer facts in the name of fairness, I would argue, is just not fair. More facts are always fair. That makes it more fair because you're going to get closer to the truth if you do that. So I know this is weird because in this scenario, I guess this puts me in league with conservatives to say, no, you should allow that into evidence because that's relevant. But I don't care if I'm in league with conservatives on this issue because that would be right. It's right to say, you chose to put the permanent tattoos on your face that say baby Nazi and most wanted. And all this other shit about how you're a fucking white supremacist and a crazy person. Fucking teardrops, which do indicate previous crimes. You did that, so now you gotta live with that. It would be the same if it was somebody put Crips or Bloods on their body, same if somebody put ISIS is fucking awesome on their body, whatever. I'm not doing this specific to particular criminals and not others. If you chose to do that, the jury should see that. It's not a crazy position. I think it's the only rational position. Bending over backwards to hide something is not more fair, it's less fair.